Hey team, Chef Eric Gephardt here of Kamado Joe. Hope you're doing well. Today I want to focus on how to turbo start your grill, or how to get it from ambient temperature to a high searing state super quick. Let's get into the action. I get a lot of great questions, but none more prevalent than what's the best way to start my Kamado Joe. So I want to share with you some of the pitfalls and some of the tips and tricks I've come up with along the way that help me turbo start my grill, or again, get from ambient to searing temperature fast and easy. Let's get into it. So first things first, let's talk about fuel source. I love using big block charcoal. And let me show you why. Quality in, quality out. Let's examine a couple pieces of this natural lump charcoal. You can see how there's nooks and crannies in between each piece. That's gonna help with airflow. If this was smaller pieces of natural lump charcoal, it's gonna be congested and we're not gonna be able to get to temperature or to flame fast enough. Next, let's take a look at how much charcoal you should be putting in your firebox. I see a lot of folks online putting way too much charcoal in. So they're congesting the entire airflow of the grill and we're not able to get up to temperature. Let me show you how I like to do it. Today we're using the Kamado Joe Classic 3. Notice how it's got a basket and tines on the bottom. This is the same if you have a 1 or 2 series that has the fire grate with the holes. We don't want to overfill this firebox. So let me show you how much I like to put in there. Remember, we're gunning for a big, bold sear, so we want to reach 500 or so. If I just left the charcoal pile like this, I don't have sufficient airflow. So I'm going to bank all of my charcoal, and that's, in essence, making a chimney, right? All you like those chimneys for is to have all the fuel source stacked, light from the bottom. So we don't need a chimney because the Kamado Joe is a chimney. So let's stack. I want to be sure and be able to see a couple of these tines. That's going to tell me that I'm going to have great airflow, and now I'm completely stacked over here. I'm going to put my fire starter at the bottom of the pile so that it has complete access to the fuel source. Loosely stacking this charcoal around the flame will ensure that it's going to climb and activate as fast as possible. Next thing we need to do is examine our draft door. Notice there's an ash drawer, and we got to make sure that there's not a bunch of debris in that. If there is, just dump it out. And notice how there's holes here. So this whole Kamado Joe works as if it were a heat pump. It's sucking in ambient air, creating convection and fueling the fire. We're going to turbo start this today, so if I leave this entire ash drawer out, we're giving it maximum access to outside air to suck in and get that grill started. Notice how once we opened the draft door all the way and took the ash drawer out, that flame is just climbing, 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 being fed from the bottom up. We're going to leave the dome up for about 10 minutes to ensure that every single piece of charcoal that's interacting with the flame gets activated and start to ash and ember up. This is a beautiful thing. We're well on our way to 550 degrees. Our fire's been lit for roughly 5 to 6 minutes. Look how we've got this wonderful charcoal cave. Sometimes I like to be an active participant in this and give it a little positive pressure. I'll just give it a little air from the side. And notice how those flames automatically jump up. You've got to watch out for lesser quality charcoal that might still have impurities in it that'll snap, crackle, and pop. Another reason I really enjoy using Kamado Joe big block charcoal. It's been 12 minutes and we've got a great bed of coals here. I'm going to use my ash tool and just rake around. See these black edges here? We want to make sure everything is fully engaged. And while that's finishing up, we'll go ahead and sneak our accessory in to start accepting some of that heat. Today I've chosen a cast iron grill grate. I'm gonna choose mid-height, and that heat is just roaring. While this accessory is coming to temperature, let's hop over and take a look at a flank steak. When thinking about what steak to do for a turbo start, we're at a pretty high temperature. If we used a 2-inch thick ribeye, we're gonna burn the outside before we reach the internal temperature we're looking for. So today I've naturally chosen a thin, wide steak. We're going with a flank steak. Let's take a closer look. This is already a lot of surface area, but I wanna increase the surface area, and I'm gonna use a method called scruffing, where we lightly draw a knife over the surface increasing the nooks and crannies, thus surface area and caramelization. we're gonna get big, bold flavor out of giving a little scruff method to this gorgeous creek stone flank steak. Now that we've got it completely scruffed up, we're gonna start with a layer of salt. And don't think of salt as getting something more salty. It acts as an amplifier, so it's gonna make this steak even more beefy than it already is. I've chosen Lane's Barbecue Kunami. There's a little bit of sweetness in here that's gonna help us build that bark and get some nice caramelization. I like to season from high above. There's different size granules in this and we want them to rain down evenly. So again, we've got a good layer of salt. We're getting that secondary Kunami on there. Season from above and let everything fall down evenly. We've turbo started our grill. We've got a great bed of coals. We've seasoned and scruffed our flank steak. Let's put a little bit of oil on this cast iron grill grate just to promote conductivity. And here goes our flank steak. That's what I want to hear. That sizzle tells us that the proteins are turning to sugar. This is a Maillard reaction. Beautiful things are happening. It's been roughly 3 minutes. I'm looking at these edges and seeing some nice bubbles, some nice caramelization. Let's take a little sneak peek. Oh yeah. Let's just give it a little turn to promote even caramelization. And notice the steak is starting to shrink up a little bit. It's starting to come together on the edges. That's a good sign. I'm gonna give it about another minute and then we'll flip. Look at this just seasoned mosaic of deliciousness. All right, I'm gonna flip this baby now. Oh yeah. Good caramelization, nice sizzle. I'm loving it. Look at that hot bed of coals. By using a small amount of charcoal, we have better airflow. We're able to get our temperatures up higher, quicker. Oh yeah. This is a quick cook, you know, again, that's why we chose this thin, big surface area piece of meat because we're going for high temperature. I'd say another minute with rest will get us right to where we want to be at that 125, 130 mark. We'll let it carry over just a little bit on the board. Let's take a look. Oh yeah. Everything I want to see and more. Let's go ahead and get it over to the cutting board and let it rest. Turbo flank steaks looking fantastic. Remember, we always want to cut across the grain. So let me show you a little trick I like to do. The grain is running lengthwise on this steak. So we're going to take our knife and cut one slice with the grain. And that's going to allow us to take a peek. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we just did that. That's looking fantastic. But it's going to be easier for us now to slice across the grain. So if it was one big piece, that's a lot of surface area on the knife. It makes it much more difficult for us. Now that we've sliced it in half with the grain, we can simply do that, and it's just easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And I'm just going to slice this into slices. Notice all this board dressing, okay? I'm going to use that. That is going to be our sauce today. So as we're slicing these pieces, we're gonna then take it and toss it in. And doesn't that just look ridiculous? Now that we've tossed in our board sauce, let's spread it out a little bit and do some post seasoning to hit those newly revealed sides. I'm gonna take that Kunami again, sprinkle from above like we talked about earlier. Hit it with a little greenery, and one last toss. Team, that looks stunning. Let's give it a go. That's what I've been looking for. That is fantastic. Chef Tom, you gonna give this a go?
Yes, sir. Oh man, that's a cool flavor profile.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Big, bold sear on that flank steak. Kunami's coming through.
Super tender though.
It's really tender, really tender.
It's good stuff. Well, thanks so much to Chef Eric, and thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check out atbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoyed that video, hit the subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to atbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.